There, one day for the big, I mean, the sun's kind of like the places, house, how do
Thanks.
right now I got you. Yeah, she comments, if not walks in here, she was like, where was her? I was like, yeah. Start out. Yeah. Just comes right to just in the water, cause I was.
Yes, you're testing the water now.
Hopefully I'll while I'm at the, like, the, and then well, it's actually, if we put lime combinations on it,
Okay.
ain't nobody should do a straight line, so I've best out there.
I'm gonna point this thing towards you when you start talking. Oh. Yeah.
Run around the house and that.
Just in case.
Getting off business.
So everybody at the Legion can see what you have to say.
That's good. Squeeze through you. You got open, feel good now.
That's why he's closing it. Keep all that cold air in there. Have you heard from Boris?
It's the.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, it's the, this is recommended.
Yes.
Oh,
That's sad, Gary.
2 weeks. It was a storage day. Wow. We should. I was just been on folks going out. Stories. Three. And yeah, that's getting her already. Well, really, that's nice. They got sessions good. Probably been like that. The shade that's strong. And
Oh, Donovan's making a swimming pool.
like I said, that we had 20 tons of sand and that made a huge difference. And now I got 24 tons out of it.
What happened? She said, she had a big first.
Rain, just the rain and well that, and then like you just mean that
Oh, no.
one bubbles.
Here's the bill permit.
Like, when it does have effect, but then also it's like when kids play one up there, I think at least a ton of it
Take
goes.
this on. You out.
You remember the day?
It was weird. We went to Fort Ashby to play, and the ice cream shop.
We had the same.
It's still there. So I met the lady and so yeah, and
Very dead.
very very.
Oh my
I looked at the lady and I was like, it's probably been about 20 years since I was a kid playing. And it's like, yeah, man, that's the.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jen North.
Full circle.
You donated to our Easter egg hunt. Thank you so much for that. Were you able to come?
Yes.
No,
No, we're
busy working. Right. Well, thank you, Lenny. It was a really good event. Yeah, there was for like the short turnaround of doing everything. It actually was a pretty.
on this 3
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I mowed them over the next week and
Oh,
they
did
keep heading in the grass. I can
Oh,
see 'em.
no. None of them were golden, right?
All 3 of them was.
They were?
Yeah.
Oh, there was money in them.
There was
too.
a dollar in each one of them.
Oh, no. Yeah, like we had a bunch of golden eggs, but like there was 3 big golden eggs and they had their certificate for the baskets. And but so but the other ones they just had like
Your t-shirt's hilarious.
oh for the one
I don't even know. It was the. Yeah, I could find stuff. It's just. Yeah, that's not right. I'm sorry. I'm cold back here. It did the gnomes and
did this.
Kids really usually repeat your video, they know, but. Let's see, so could that be?
Oh,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. Jen. Jen, yes. Mhm. Are you gonna be at the The thing was that Tuesday. Tuesday. Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
Tuesday. Fancy. I'm running for Morgan here.
Today, what here? Okay.
No, it's supposed to be in, but it's not. That is.
Now, how does that work? Are all seats open or how?
Just one. Every 2 years, somebody need to come to that.
So whose seat is it this time?
Joel Tyler.
Oh, is he running?
Yes.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, I
Oh,
tried to talk him out of it. Come on. So he's got it.
okay, yeah.
That's just one of many.
So Daryl?
Oh, yeah, it's paragraphs, books, anthologies,
Bill Clark. and
Cool.
Sean Fahey.
Oh, Bill Ryan?
No,
life story.
he's not up for.
Yeah.
I don't know much about politics. I just
Probably better that way.
I just named myself. I don't get out. They're from here.
I know. Last time I heard like fireworks.
I know. It's spicy over here.
Spicy.
That, you getting everything ready for the parade
Trying to.
next month?
Like the July parade or Memorial Day?
Memorial Day parade.
Awesome, good for you guys. Our parade game needs to help. Always someone who gets lost and then parade kind of ends. It's funny. Did we sometimes Santa got lost?
Or Simon.
He got.
I was thinking about it. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
I read.
Okay.
Like, wasn't even his fake. There's this shady was.
I didn't know you were back there. I heard them talking about the parade and I was like, oh. Did you send us a request yet this year?
I did.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure that I have that on the agenda for Thursday then. So
Let me know if you don't have it. 'Cause
I think I remember. I just remember to put on the agenda, so. make sure we have it for you. All right, I'll give you, and I want to give probably, you take one of those too. Everybody can pass that around. You guys, well, you know about it because you're a member, but I don't think anybody else knows about it, but all more than welcome to come.
It was for you.
You always come up. I'm not gonna.
Board member. So it's. Can't be. Remember. Okay, there's orange trouble. Yeah, it goes on and on, like do a lot of. River. Yeah. It's just like forest. I guess. That'll probably be. I was probably there. But, yeah, I just got my.
10:30.
10:30. Cause I got there at 9:45.
10:30.
Yeah. Time of it.
Can you come go to it? Yeah.
All that.
I
He
got.
was there, Jonathan.
I got there at 9:40. Oh, that's for most.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's just the document. Fill it out for each one.
That's it.
On down. Why didn't get it?
You know?
She was dumpster diving. I did that last time. Easy to read the house.
Degrees outside. It take longer. I think I'll choose the 14 on this.
No.
I don't know.
Take the
Hey, 14 seats out for like a day, that 14 for like 3 weeks wasn't awesome.
You can add layers. You can only take something off.
She's here. She's on the opposite.
See?
So it's been, you shall see.
Frank, always want to have second.
I can't vote on it for discussion. I just run a message.
And. Right. This would actually fall. Don't ever do this count the motion in your second as a vote. With their second.
Right, number two.
So somebody could, if they wanted
Yeah,
to,
so-
if they just wanted to have something discussed, they could motion and second it, so that way it gets discussed and vote against it. They can know. But we count the motion the second separate from the affirmative.
And to vote against it would be a no.
Yeah, also.
Gotcha.
So they're a platinum sponsor for.
I wouldn't. It doesn't have baseball.
It's inside.
They've been like, they're like movies tonight.
Yes.
They're doing everything with the kids. I'm sure they get investors every week and.
T-ball, we had team had his first game last night, and then coach pitch had their first.
She hasn't been so long. Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess low.
Division.
Where's the stand?
You guys have any stuff? We got 3 pitchers. Yeah, we got T-ball.
Yeah,
coach,
Saturday,
player,
and the horses.
and, 30,
That's in
6.
Right.
We got 10, like, and I got 14. So
Most of your games at.
yeah, it's exactly half and half. So this year I scheduled 12 games and it's 6 home, 6 away. Cool. And then we kind of divvy that up. It's like we play 3 different districts, and so we do 4 games at each with them. So it's like
Our tenants were moving out, so we went down there, that's a hard Sunday, now inspected it.
and then like, you know, so
Pretty good. Sounds like this, but sure.
yeah. First race twice.
Could be.
Like.
It was an early day. Dad, kept them all pretty good.
So,
Andy, not so much, but
press forward too.
I bet
Yeah, exactly.
he's back to supervisor.
It's
I already fixed the pipe. I didn't even leave that in Tony.
That's what they do lessons.
Yeah.
Push for some bars.
And it was so, it was literally just,
we got
it slid out, you know how you used to like the pressure seal, it just slipped out of the pressure. seal?
Just like, so there's a theory.
Yeah. We might give it 2 minutes.
There's a theory of substance abuse prevention, which says
And then they should be out of there by May 5th.
curricular activities. Meetings and programs.
It's hard to.
Right, so if that.
Yeah,
does,
so I
then
got
it
2
opens up, like. it will be
Yeah,
over.
what I'm gonna do is, everybody used last time, listed for sale under market.
It's like,
If say there's a bit of a house, that's everybody comes forward the same day. I'm all the application.
after
And then turn the light allowed.
pulled up like all of those, so you gotta word those out.
I mean, I've looked into it. I mean, it's about 100,000 project. And it's about 25,000.
She'd be a great employee.
Need to have the lights, you know, front.
Well, excuse me a moment, just to give you a heads up, we're now online with, you can, go onto our internet, log on to the, live meeting, live streams, and just want to give you a heads up.
Come back.
Hey?
Yes, something changed here.
It's okay, you have to get a picture there, so that should, everything's fine.
So
It's fine.
worked. I
Yep,
think-
yep,
no,
Everything that's, it needs something.
Yeah.
So the answer.
Sure.
What's going on?
No. Out there. Out there's for them to speak. Yeah.
Bike guy, the Mountaineer Gravel, law enforcement towns. And he's really interested in the project. He said that, you know, like once, now he's finished with one, he's done Mountaineer Gravel, he's working on the English gravel. In Pennsylvania, because he wants that project, but he's not.
Meeting is now called to order. Everybody sign in. Has everybody had a chance to look over their minutes from last month's meeting?
Yeah, make a motion to pass. Approve 'em.
I'll second that.
Yeah. All the bills been approved and signed.
So, motion is second, so that opens it up for discussion, and then you call for
Okay. Back to the minutes. Any discussion from anybody on the minutes? If not, then we need the yays. I need you all to say yeah. And then any nays? Okay. Now we can move to approval of the bills. We do need a motion.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All yays?
Yay.
Yay.
Any nays? Okay. Now we'd like to hear from Dusty Martin. Travel Burton's Rooms.
Stand up here. Well, thank you guys all for having me. Mayor Alve, council members, appreciate you all. I want to talk a little bit about the tourism industry in Morgan County and specifically in Paw Paw. So everybody close your eyes real fast and imagine what I'm talking about and imagine where I might be talking about. As a 4-season outdoor destination, Blank offers endless opportunities for adventure no matter the time of year. Learn about history on a historic walking tour. Nearby Civil War trails offer another perfect opportunity to connect with this city's unique mountain story. Once a rugged industry town, it has evolved into a community defined by its deep connection. For those outdoor explorers who want to get their feet wet and their shoes muddy, the town's central location provides the perfect playground. Anglers can cast their lines. Likewise, hikers, bikers, and equestrians will find a trail network with their ideal blend of challenge and accessibility. There's an adventure waiting for all ages and abilities. So now, what town was I just describing? This is actually a word-for-word excerpt from the Mon Forest Town's website describing the town of Durban, West Virginia. And if you've never heard of town of Durban, you're not alone. It's got half the population of Paw Paw, and it's located on a road to literal nowhere, about an hour from Elkins in one direction, an hour from Marlington in the other, but not on the way to either one of them. So just going into the middle of nowhere in Pocahontas County. However, what I did not read you guys was the first paragraph of that same page. And that reads, visitors can grab a bite to eat at Station 2 or Rustic Bar and Grill, refuel with a cup of delicious coffee or settle for a sandwich from Simply Sweets, and shop for souvenirs at the Rail Trail store. Durban has situated itself deeply within the outdoor economy, which supports small businesses and provides opportunities for residents while increasing overall quality of life. The outdoor economy alone has a $2.1 billion impact on communities just in West Virginia. For the town of Durban, it supports 4 businesses, and they only have 250 residents. My goal for Paw Paw is the same, capitalizing on the growing outdoor economy. Furthermore, a 2026 analysis found that Americans moving within the country, so they're moving to another part of the country, not leaving the country, about 76% of them cited better access to outdoor lifestyles as a reason for relocation. Second only to finding a cheaper place to live. The outdoor economy not only brings visitors, but it attracts residents. Over the course of my last 13 months as the executive director of Travel Berkeley Springs, I have made deliberate and meaningful intentional steps to supporting Paw Paw and advancing its outdoor recreational potential. I've personally taken the lead on helping to ensure that Paw Paw is positioned to capitalize on tourism advancements. Over the last 10 months, I've attended several of the C&O Canal Partnership meetings. The C&O Canal Partnership represents 11 towns along the towpath, including 4 in West Virginia and only 1 in Morgan County. The location of their meetings changes monthly, and when the meeting came to Paw Paw this fall, I was honored to present along with engineers from Boone, North Carolina, Destination by Design. The meeting was well attended by stakeholders, including Mayor Abe, Region 9 representatives, the National Park Service, and members of nearly all of the 11 canal towns. What we talked about at this meeting was the Paw Paw Gravel Trails Initiative. This initiative holds tremendous long-term potential for Paw Paw. Positioned as a natural entry point from the C&O Canal National Historic Park to what is rapidly becoming an extensive statewide gravel network, Over the last 5 years, West Virginia has developed over 3,000 miles of biking trails with a focus of tying together small towns and improving economies. This type of work has benefited towns like Durban. In January and February, I spent several days in Charleston advocating for tourism and outdoor recreation, and through this, I increased state level awareness for the potential that Paw Paw has to capitalize on the outdoor economy. Through dozens of conversations with important statewide stakeholders, I've ensured that Paw Paw will not only be included, but championed as a vital gateway to our ongoing recreational projects and to connect to this 3,000 miles trail system through the C&O Canal and making it tie in to the DC markets. Phase 1 of our Paw Paw Trails Gravel Initiative has been completed. We have mapped over 60 miles of trails that connect directly to Paw Paw, and thanks to a $25,000 grant from Partner Capital Group's Recreational Economies Initiative, this work was done in a very quick amount of time. Phase 2 will include designing a marketing strategy that ties these trails together and tells a cohesive story. This story will also tie in existing water trails, the C&O Canal National Historical Park, and develop stories along these trails to increase the marketability. One story, for example, we have a trail that goes all the way from Paw Paw to Eidolon Nature Preserve. There's a quarry in Eidolon Nature Preserve that was used in the creation of the Paw Paw Tunnel. So one of my goals for this upcoming year is to bring on a contractor, the same contractor that did about 2,500 of these 3,000 miles in West Virginia, to create a recreational guide for the Paw Paw area and to help tell those stories. Some of the big projects we aim to work on this year include printed trail maps, digital trail development, and increased market searchability. And later this month, we will have our professional media team here in Paw Paw to get footage of the town, its businesses, and those types of assets will be utilized in these projects. Our trails will all originate here in Paw Paw and take visitors to Eidolon Nature Preserve, Ice Mountain, the Cape and River Trail, the Green Ridge State Forest, to name a few. As part of this, we're developing a Paw Paw Recreational Initiative Committee. This will be made up of members of Travel Berkeley Springs, Visit Hampshire County, Village to Village Trails, and the community of Paw Paw. We would really value if the council would have a representative on this committee to ensure that we align all our decision making in a way that fits the town's interests. Over the past year, Travel Berkeley Springs has provided financial support for Paw Paw, totaling over $8,500. Some of that includes key community event sponsorships, including a $2,000 donation to the Paw Paw Festival, a $1,000 donation to the Memorial Day Parade, and a $500 donation to the inaugural Canal Towns Art Trail Pop-Up Gallery. We also cover Paw Paw's annual Canal Towns membership fee. And these investments reflect our organization's commitment to strengthening events that bring visitors to town and enhance community pride. For the first time in Travel Berkeley Springs history, we've made substantial investments in creating online and written content promoting the town of Paw Paw. This includes over $5,000 to bring in social media content creators, magazine writers, and newspaper writers from across the region. One of West Virginia's 3 largest daily newspapers, with over 20,000 daily readers, the Morgantown Dominion Post featured an entire page on Morgan County, including a trip by their food writer Christina to the 2nd annual Paw Paw Festival, a visit we planned in conjunction with the Paw Paw Festival Committee. Happily Ever Exploring are a DC couple who have a heart for adventure. Their online travel show and blog have featured some of the biggest attractions in West Virginia, including Harper's Ferry, whitewater rafting at the New River Gorge, ATV riding on the Hatfield and McCoy Trail, and naturally, we brought them to Paw Paw. A quote in their blog reads, "Whether you're bikepacking the C&O Canal or just looking to stay off the beaten path and experience the charming town of Paw Paw, we highly recommend the renovated Mountain Life Inn. You have to grab dinner at Big and Tiny's Tavern. This local family-owned spot serves up the coldest beer and the best wings." We also supported the promotion of several businesses in town. 1 year ago, we only had 2 members of Travel Berkeley Springs from Paw Paw. That number has now doubled. We have been able to add Big and Tiny's and Green Ridge Canoe Outfitters in the last year. along with Mountain Life Inn and Cape and Preservation Solutions, which were previous members. Membership with our organization is more than just a title. And over the past year, we've invested over $12,000 in helping to promote local businesses across the county through dynamic digital marketing investments. And for Paw Paw, that means dedicated TripAdvisor pages for Green Ridge Canoe Outfitters, Big and Tiny's Tavern, the Paw Paw Welcome Center, and the Paw Paw Tunnel just outside of town. In addition to funding, for the first time in Travel Berkeley Springs history, Paw Paw now has a dedicated webpage on our site, ensuring it's formally included in our regional tourism strategy. This page includes history, things to do, fun facts. We also installed a poster at the kiosk at the historic train depot and welcome center in the town of Bath, highlighting Paw Paw. And we distribute pamphlets there for the walking tour and the C&O Canal towpath canal to town brochures. And then we also have included the walking tour now at the State Capitol building in Charleston. In 2025, we posted Paw Paw 17 times on Facebook, which resulted in over 175,000 views related directly to those posts. And recently, on March 22nd of this year, we had a viral post related to the Paw Paw Tunnel, which reached over 130,000 people in one post. So now the big question, is it working? Yes, overwhelmingly so. Paw Paw, your hotel occupancy tax increased by 43.9% year over year. We compare that to the town of Bath, which increased by only 6.6%. In addition to that, we also saw Green Ridge Canoe Outfitters boast 2,500 paddlers on the Potomac, an increase of over 1,000 year over year. As West Virginia tourism continues to grow and Morgan County sees increased interest in outdoor recreation and heritage tourism, Paw Paw is very well positioned to excel in areas like trail development, small town heritage experiences, and event-driven tourism. I see tremendous opportunity for Paw Paw to build on its outdoor assets, build on its Canal Town partnership, and build on its historic character to become a recognized gateway community within Morgan County and the state of West Virginia. I want to emphasize both TBS and I personally have invested significant time, effort, and advocacy to ensure that Paw Paw is included, promoted, and positioned for long-term success. I want to thank the council for their commitment and leadership to the town and the community. We couldn't do it without your support, and I appreciate you all letting me speak here today. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Dustin, could I speak while we're on the outdoor thing about something that's coming up?
Sure, your discretion.
I signed up to speak.
Yeah.
While we're on this,
Here's 3 minutes.
well, with Dusty's help.
Yeah.
He's brought in videographers and a photographer that's coming on this month on the 28th, which is Tuesday. I'd like to invite everybody to come with us. These photos and videography is going to be used quite widely in West
Yeah.
Virginia and the market area for the outdoor tourism. What we're gonna do is meet at my store at 11 a.m. And then we're gonna go upriver. We're gonna put in at Town Creek and we're gonna come back to Paw Paw. That's with the photographers. What I'm doing there is after we get done, get off the river here at the boat ramp, we're gonna go around to the tunnel. I'm gonna set up a fake camp. I'm gonna put up 4, 5, 6 huge tents, canvas wall tents, bell tents, and big canopy tents. Everybody that's on the float trip, right now it's 30 or 40 people going. I've got 70 boats, so I got plenty of room. I'm gonna have everybody over for dinner after the float. Okay, that way they can actually see a working camp, how it functions. I'm also bringing bicycles over to where they can take photos and video of people entering the Paw Paw Tunnel. That's our biggest attraction here, is that Paw Paw Tunnel. And then also I've invited Kina with Spring Gap Farms. She's gonna bring 5, 6, 7, 10 horses. So people, if they're able to ride, could ride in and also get photographed with that. Yeah, and Dusty doing great things. He's told me the numbers, and I told you guys 2 years ago that this was coming.
I appreciate
The outdoor industry is larger than the coal industry in West Virginia. I like the formation of a paw paw outdoor type thing so we can draw in. The funds are there. Let's utilize them. Let's grow this town. Okay? That's about it. One other thing, we had minutes were passed about the sign on the Paw Paw Trail. We have no sign yet. I'll volunteer to put the sign up. We're missing a sign coming from the south to the north, pointing to Paw Paw. There's people that have gone by it and don't know Paw Paw's here. These are all tourists that come through. They don't know the area. So we have to direct them into town. It was passed that we had a sign was going to be made. I went through the CNO Canal Trust and they told us that basically it was each town's responsibility to purchase their own sign. It was passed. Like a sign was supposed to be, excuse me?
The sign is in process.
Okay.
It's been
It's
approved.
season now.
and
It's
getting-
season now. I'm sorry. It's season now. We should have that sign.
I
They don't-
agree, but the federal government moves at their own pace, so it's coming.
Okay. Well, if the towns are responsible to make their own sign to hang up.
No,
Yes, I'm a member of CNO Canal Trust. They've told me that each individual town is responsible for purchasing and installing their own sign. Yes,
If I understand correctly, I believe that the towns are required for the purchasing of the sign and the payment for the installation, but the National Park Service creates the sign and installs it. Is that correct?
and approves it.
Okay.
It's the approval process.
okay. That and one other note and I'm done. I asked Ace if he could get the state guys over here to sweep the bike trail coming into town because it's hideous from the winter gravel. We had a couple accidents last year in this town. Ace said that it would be done this past Friday, from what they told him. Can we get somebody to call over there and have them come over here and sweep the side of the road so that we don't have any elderly people get hurt?
Well, I can give them a call, but I can't guarantee they will come.
Well, they said they were, but they just haven't showed up yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll give them a call.
Okay. I'm good. That's it. Thanks.
Mayor, I have just a couple of process questions here. Travel Berkeley Springs, I'm not from Morgan County. Are you the CVB or are you a nonprofit? So you are the Morgan County Convention and Visitors Bureau doing business as Travel Berkeley Springs.
Travel Berkeley Springs is how we're incorporated, but we represent all of Morgan County.
Okay, but you guys are the recipient of the hotel and occupancy.
Yes.
Does Paw Paw have its own hotel and occupancy tax specific to the municipality?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the recipient of
Yes.
50% of those funds?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why you've got all of the numbers on receipts. Okay, when you receive that, do you get a breakdown from the state on addresses and units and all that stuff too?
There was a law passed this year, House Bill 5063. Actually, Delegate Cannon produced this bill. That will help with that a little bit.
Okay.
So we don't get addresses. We do get, this is what the town of Paw Paw sent the state. And then we can see that number, but we don't get it broken down super specific yet, but should get better after this bill is enacted.
So, your board, the CVB board or Travel Berkeley Springs board, how many members and then who appoints that? And then does it have any representatives from Paw Paw?
We have 9 members. So we have 9 voting members, okay? And that is a voting process through members of the organization. So of the member body, we have 4 members from Paw Paw. On the board, we have 2 members from Paw Paw. And then we have appointed representatives from each of the governing bodies. And David's our appointed representative, and that's an ex officio position. So technically, we have a larger board of about 12 members. The county has a non-voting, the town of Bath has a non-voting, Paw Paw has a non-voting, EDA has a non-voting, and the Morgan Arts Council is a non-voting. So we have an ex officio and 2 voting members that are currently serving from Paw Paw.
And then I'm assuming that you're the point you're syncing up with Tina on bike trail stuff?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate all you're doing for us.
I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. And I wanted, before I sit down, I sent everybody in the mail. I hope you guys got it. An invitation to our tourism rendezvous on May 20th. I brought itineraries for the event. So if you guys, yeah, do that, pass them around. And so on the front, it's just kind of like some information about the event. On the back is kind of the itinerary as the day goes along. So I encourage you all to come. We really would love to have you there. It would mean a lot for us. You know, it's difficult in my position when the town of Paw Paw is contributing less than 1% of the total amount of money that we receive. I was able to, you know, give you guys 6 times more than you put in this year. I want to be able to do that more and more, and I think from my board's perspective, knowing that, you know, seeing you at these meetings and knowing that you are involved will help for me on that advocacy perspective. So I encourage you all to come to the meetings and you know.
I'm sure you'll have a turnout of us at this particular one.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Dusty, can I get one of those?
Yeah.
Alicia will post it over $1. I'll post one. Split one.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have Natalie.
Oh, wow, it's fast.
Who wants to tell us about your birthday parade?
I'm here for the Paw Paw Parade Committee. This is the 66th annual parade and the 19th annual car show. I'm here requesting some funds, and that would help with insurance that we have to have for the parade and car show. That helps with trophies. That helps with donations to Miss Paw Paw. And also I'm here to ask for volunteers. We're always needing volunteers. We have a limited amount of people that help. So anytime, and if you would volunteer, that would help. Also, if we could have no business license needed for the vendor just for that day, I think you've passed that before. And access to put something on the water bill to let everyone know what's happening that day. And also, Ron and Ace has helped in the past with trash cans, picnic tables, and traffic cones the Friday before the event.
Okay.
I'll make that mention.
We need to discuss
The amount.
yeah.
What did we give last year? 1,000?
I think it was 1,000 or 1,200, one or the other. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
I'm trying to get food trucks for that event this year too, for the parade.
I think 1,200.
Goes for 1,200.
Second. Discussion.
So can we have yays?
Did we do a discussion?
It was,
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
yeah, so you're in discussion now, but there was a multi-part to the request too. So that was the exemption of business license fees.
Yeah.
That missed, there was another part of it too, right?
Access to the water bill.
Access to
Publish it on the water bill
On the
about
water bill.
the parade,
And also, Ron and Ace
the trash
do
can.
bring trash cans, picnic tables, and traffic cones for us.
We'll do that.
I mean, that
Yeah.
make motion for all.
Yeah.
Request.
And I think you're on this month's water bill too.
And also volunteers, so.
If I could get food trucks, I'm working with Dusty. He's put me in a bunch of different contacts, and I'm speaking with 2 other vendors right now. Where would I be able to send them so we could disperse them for the crowd throughout town for the parade? Where would you let me put them?
Natalie might have the best idea. Yeah.
Natalie.
So there's no, you're not gonna turn down anybody if they wanna put certain
They,
sections?
they have to, follow Morgan County guidelines with the food. Yeah, health department.
Don't we get the permit?
You
We
get
have
the
to be licensed, yeah.
You have to.
Food permits, one thing, what I've seen work really well is you coordinate this with your police department because they're gonna be able to speak to traffic and, foot traffic control too. So,
Morgan County.
Are they gonna be available at day?
or even before, you can have them coordinate with the We're talking about if they bring in food trucks, where they would put them to make sense for a public safety standpoint. And I just said, normally we coordinate that with the police department. That's the best outcome.
I wanna bring somebody in that doesn't hurt big and tinies.
It's Memorial Day weekend,
That's all
so
different.
most of you are available.
23rd in it.
Yes.
So the motion's made for the donation.
1,200
Yeah.
email,
Yes, yeah,
Discussion, so now, yay.
all yays,
yeah.
any nays? Okay. And that's in, yes, okay, got it. Do we have to vote for anything with Dusty? I know you said that we would show up.
Oh, well, we just got an invitation, so we
Okay.
are.
What
RSVP.
about the formation that Dusty was talking about an outdoor committee with town council?
With what?
Dusty?
It was, in my presentation, I had mentioned that we're creating a Paw Paw recreational, Paw Paw Recreation Initiative Committee. And we would really, really appreciate to have a member of the council serve on that committee. All of our committee meetings are virtual, so you won't have to haul it over to the train depot. But for us to ensure that we're aligning with the town and the town's, you know, it's really good to have a member of the town on that committee. Yeah, ordinances and just in general, like overall, what the vision is for the town should have a say in that. So I asked if we could have a member of town. I don't know if that's something you need to move or if somebody just signs up for the committee, but.
Well, I'm sure we can, but right now we only have 3 members here. And so if
I'll
we
volunteer if it's
let you know,
position open.
Well, I was gonna have, I was gonna reach out to you about that anyway, Michael, because
Yeah.
you'd be a business member, but a member of the actual council to serve.
Mike is interested.
I accept.
She wants the council first.
Accept that back too.
So
Dusty, you know anything about the railroad?
especially if they're gonna work on this in between now and the next meeting, what you guys could do is just take volunteers from the council, and if there's a disagreement, then bring it back for a decision at the next meeting, but if somebody just steps up and everybody's in agreement with that, then that
Right.
person can just volunteer to be on the board.
Are you interested? I think you're the most kind of in tune with everything they need to know.
Say it's the same, I mean, was it once a month or?
Yeah, we'll probably meet once a month, probably for the next 6 months or so, as we're going through the creation of this recreation guide.
What time?
I haven't put together a time yet.
Dusty, it's the greater Paw Paw too, right? That's why you're roping in.
Largent, there's gonna be folks in Largent and people in Hampshire County, yeah, but I'm calling it Paw Paw because everything starts here.
It's virtual.
As long as it doesn't interfere with starting points.
Okay.
and Work stuff, yeah, I should be able to.
Okay.
So, you already have my contact, so we'll be in talks about it.
We're good with.
Dusty's also asked me in a few meetings ago to be town greeter for the bike trail once it connects here. To where my store would basically be the hub where I'd greet people coming from Maryland. And also being a trailhead guide for people coming from West Virginia into Maryland. Basically a local guide, somebody who knows the area.
Are we good with the trash cans and picnic table and stuff for that?
Oh, yeah, we do that all the time.
That you're good.
Thank you.
Okay, are we moving on to committee reports? We have ordinances, Jonathan, Devin, and. Yeah, here we go, Jonathan, Devin.
We're working on passing some more ordinances tonight, nothing else really.
I guess we'll be talking about that later on. Yeah, it gets time to decide what we vote on.
Yep.
That stuff,
Cemetery, Angie.
I went up probably 2 weeks ago. And it looks good. I don't know if anybody's started mowing yet.
Not yet, I don't
Okay.
think so. I think we're gonna discuss that later.
Okay.
And finances, there's a sheet in every piece.
Yeah.
Okay, personnel committee, Jonathan, Devin.
We're working on at the moment, and personal.
Oh, yes, that's on good. So now,
Social commission.
personnel committee has to deal with what? Bird inspector? Yeah, what y'all working on that?
Well, do you wanna make that announcement?
You guys did the interview and.
Yeah, the interview went well. When did we do that? That was a month or so, or?
Yeah, it was, cause
Yeah, we'd interviewed Greg and it seemed promising, and from his initial interaction with everybody, seemed like he was liked by the group, so.
Great, who?
He was the inspector,
For Keaton Bridge.
yeah, so,
well, name,
or,
yes.
So,
I wasn't under the impression that Greg was going to be available
available, yeah.
for you guys. I thought that
he was from,
As needed.
yeah, it was more on a part-time base where he would be the person to take on the project, but until we found the permanent solution to that, so.
him not being here, I can't say anything other than what I've had another conversation with him as. It's like he's winding down, right? So
And he did say that.
he's if he's available to help you guys at all, that's great, but definitely need to find somebody that he can help
Yeah.
bring up if
And he expressed that, but he said, he was like, until we can get that ball rolling, he would help where he can. So,
So does that mean we'll be advertising in the newspaper or something?
Leave, yeah, we'd advertise if he hasn't agreed to take the position as part-time. So,
we
Okay.
definitely need to advertise it.
yeah, so.
Need to get a formal application.
Okay, police, we have Devin and Angie.
Well, she's still here.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce yourself? This is,
Sierra.
we've interviewed Sierra today, so.
This is, our new applicant, Sarah Milo.
Alan.
And she is a certified police officer and has a lot of other traits and education. And we, talked with her today and find that she would be a very good fit for us as a part-time officer.
My niece,
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
That's about it.
That's it. Okay, then we move along to streets and alley's. That's fantastic. And Judy Jonathan.
Well, there was a little episode yesterday. Down on River and Amelia Street in the corner. The wind was blowing, the trees caught fire. Or the branches got fire into the line and it was sparking and the two lines got damaged. So a neighbor called 911 and me and her stood there. And then Jonathan came, then about an hour after that, the truck showed up. So, yeah. But we don't know what we need to do, because 911, they said there's nothing they can do. And I thought maybe the fire truck should be there waiting, for safety because of the public. And it was down. It was burnt right on your street.
What we need to do for something like that, but I would think, the electric company, something would notify them.
Well, they did, but it took 2 hours to get there.
So the fire department won't touch it until the power's on. They don't even come out. Now, if they come out and the lines are down, they'll notify the power company, but they don't get near it until the power's on.
It's a safety issue, I think. Kids go on that street, ride bikes, play, anybody.
well, we handled it
We did.
ourselves
I mean,
until
we did.
our company should.
And I guess the hardest thing would be, how do we get a hold of power company in a situation. Like
That was the problem, because I called 911 after everyone else, and they said, yeah, we know about it, there's nothing really they can do. Power company's been notified. I called the power company and there was no phone number I called that I could get to speak to a person. And so I did try their robot automated system, but it just would not give me the option to
Talk to anybody.
report a dangerous situation like that.
So maybe you need to speak with Marshall Yonker and ask him what we are supposed to do in a case like that.
It's a good idea.
Just in case it happens again.
Yeah. That was odd that it happened then. Well, and for streets and alleys, I would like for somebody on this committee to contact the fire chief and have him to go around and mark the sidewalks where he does want them painted red, and then our guys can do it. But we need for them to let us know which one.
Okay.
Water and sewage, we have Angie.
So I see they're up there by, what is it, Potomac Street working? Is that the water?
Yes. And then it's gonna be like Wilson and Church.
Yeah.
And I think Ron's been trying to let people in those streets know ahead of time. Okay. We have our commissions. Parks and Recreation.
Park's looking really, really good. Kids are out there enjoying their first home game of the season, playing the Old Town Indians, so everything seems above board. The pavilion is
Or
that's being worked on, and it was deemed that the chicken wire that we initially thought was going to be a suitable solution. We're going to need something a little more. Ron, did you have any more of an update on the pavilion, getting it covered so the birds don't?
I asked two people to give us a quote. Didn't get any quotes back yet. If
Okay.
you have any suggestions on anybody to give us a quote on it,
All right.
I think it's too much, our guys don't have nailers, ladders, scaffolding. I don't think our people's capable of doing it. So I asked two quotes, and I haven't received anything back yet. If you guys, anybody can know of anybody that has a business license that is willing to give us a quote, I think it'd be great. Right now, I requested two, and that was shortly after you told me about it, and I haven't received it yet.
Yeah. Alternatively, instead of the chicken wire, it's just to completely cover it. A little bit more expensive, but will be well worth it and will be a better permanent solution. So it is being worked on. It's just the original idea that we thought would be good enough. Turns out it wasn't. So hopefully by this time next month, we'll at least have a lead on getting that taken care of. But besides that, parks are looking really good and everything seems fine.
And we haven't done our Little League sponsorship yet, have we? So we're gonna do vote on that.
I make a motion.
I believe I can't for this, but
I make a motion.
What are we?
it's just $100.
Yeah.
It's just renewal of the sponsor to have a sign on the field.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, any nays? Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And Jonathan with the social commission.
So the social commission is no more. We're now the Paw Paw Community Club. We're having an event April 18th, a gardening event for the family friendly. Basically we're making what's called seed snails, and we're providing all the materials. Families just coming out and to the park, and we're going to put them together, and they'll be able to take them home and plant them. We partnered with the Master Gardeners Association and Maria Galoy. Thank you.
She better somewhere. Happened.
She's something.
She's in the corner.
And which part? This one
Yes,
or that one? Out here,
yeah.
Winchester Street.
And what did you call that? The seed?
So,
Paw community?
seed snail.
Say that again.
It's a seed snail.
Seed.
Snail.
Can't think of it too hard.
Okay.
It's
just right there.
It's like, yeah, it's pretty neat. and
Okay.
it's pretty mixed up.
I look forward
Thank
to
you.
them to go to see.
Yeah, I
it
think
because
kids will like it.
Jonathan, any news on the proposed riverfront campsite?
No, I think that was with the Parks and Rec Commission last. Have you guys made any like progress in that lot over there by the sewer pond? Potentially making that into a campground?
That'd be new business. wouldn't it?
Yeah,
No,
I
that
mean,
was already-
I'll have to talk to
ago.
Ron, but it's like, I haven't heard any updates on it myself. So,
You guys have a ton of projects to,
yeah,
we're as small of a town as you are.
Okay, what's oh. The administrative report for the neighborhood revitalization fund.
That Ron?
Neighborhood, yeah.
Nope,
No,
this is us.
yes.
So, Jonathan brought this up at last month's meeting. And then I had to ask him again what it was that he was mentioning, because I've worked in section 8 of the West Virginia Code for a while now, and I'd never heard of this program. So in general, it's not possible, or it's very rarely possible for a governing body or a local government to give funds to a private entity for non-public purposes for private benefit. There is a fund under West Virginia Code 8-20A-3, which is the Neighborhood Rehabilitation Fund, which would essentially allow you guys as a municipality. So you all talked about this probably last month, a little bit the month before, as to instead of some of the enforcement mechanisms, like, that's how you would make some of these improvements that you want to make around town versus how do you just prop those up through incentives. This is one of the incentive tools that's available to you. So you can create a fund that can either do revolving fund with loans, or it can actually do grants for rehabilitation. Now, there are some rules that'll go into it. So like, for instance, grants, I think, can only be for qualified owner within town resident living in their primary residence that cannot receive the funds by other traditional means. But if this is something that you guys are interested in doing, we can draft an ordinance which would create this fund and then set a first crack at bylaws for how you would establish and operate this fund once you got it funded. None of that is automatic. You would have the ability to talk about it, but before we spend the town's time, money, and attention on it, when we get it on the agenda, figure out whether or not this is a route that you guys want to go down. And if so, I can have something worked up for you guys to decide on by next month, if that's something that you want to do.
So basically, my thought in bringing this up is that we've got people that we have some low income families in town. If we could go get grant money, we pull it into this special fund, and then people who need repairs on their houses, they come and they request that money. We could do either grants or loans and just, give them the money to repair their houses. Me personally, I think we ought to stay away from giving loans. We ought to go only for grants, because if we get into loaning people money and then they can't pay it back,
Right.
I don't think we want to be in the position of trying to enforce any of that. So I think we ought to stick with strictly grants. And that's kind of my train of thought on this. What do you guys think?
I'm all good with helping out.
yeah,
Yeah,
loans are too risky.
yeah.
The
No,
grants is, yeah. I think the only thing is, to make sure that these grants, like whatever the amount is, is it one of those things where we retain it, or it's like we get the money and
We have to do it.
by the end of the fiscal cycle, we'll have to spend it, like we have to have.
There's a
candidates.
time limit on it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that depends on the grant money
Yeah,
With the
so-
rules are on the.
You can receive money through bunch of mechanisms to go, either through allocation for the town,
Yeah.
through donations, grants, like you can.
Even
put
private
mon-
individuals.
You can, yeah, you can put money in that pot through a
Okay.
bunch of mechanisms. And then the way that you administer it out is on yourselves. Grants are gonna require more restrictions than loans are. I mean, even by code, there's a few restrictions on grant funds. I'll probably at least try to make a pitch for leaving the ability to do loans in there. Just because it's a broader set of tools that you could use this for. But it's your program, it's your stuff. So, as you guys move through it, I'll take the guidance that you all have on this and then craft the program based off of that and then bring it back for your approval. And then after you get it created, it'll be yours to run.
I definitely say grant, because if we say a loan,
It's specifically enabled in here.
they
that
can't
you-
pay for it to fix now. What,
Yeah, it's.
they're not gonna be
much
able to
of a
pay it then.
risk, Yeah.
So,
I like the essence of it. I'm definitely more on the grant side. I just wanna make sure the grant money we get becomes utilized.
yes.
So,
If you guys are giving out grant money to fix up people's house, I imagine that the problem will quickly be that you don't have enough.
So USDA does the grant program. They, if you're a homeowner and you worked under your home and you qualify, they will provide a grant for you. And they told me most of them you don't have to repay. I mean, that's somebody to check in.
That's an excellent
I've talked
additional
to
tool.
a couple
Yeah.
people about that.
Maybe they'll help cover the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Well, either way, that'd be just a good office for us to connect with. Normally there's like county offices that are one in Berkeley Springs.
Don't know, I always talk to Romney.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, we can close
There
that up.
probably is one. Yeah.
overall, gonna be.
We operate with the Martinsburg office.
It would be good to figure out whether or not there's a possible funder for the program too there. But what this doesn't do, this does not say, hey, here's all the money, right? This just creates the fund and sets the rules. And then we'll have the additional set of how do we actually get money in the pot. So just for posterity's sake, I would appreciate a motion to develop the ordinance based on the conversation that's occurred with the guidance that's occurred. For consideration next month's.
I'll make a motion for you to develop.
I'll second that.
I'm not aware if I'm allowed to. I don't think there's a conflict. There, I conflict, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have ideas.
Yay?
Yay.
Yay. Zero.
I am intrigued by it. I'd like to see how it plays out. I haven't seen this program utilized before.
Well, I've got a question concerning that. Would it be up to our council members to
Decide
take that,
by default, that's the
work
way,
it, you know,
by default, that would.
other than Ron? Ron takes care of all the grants that we apply for.
So
Would we
my,
be giving that to him?
no, my default assumption was going to be that the town council, because we have not discussed another body, which would be the board for allocation, is that all applications come up through the governing body, so that it's the town's fund. What I am going to do, and I haven't done this because I didn't know that you guys wanted to work on it yet, is I'll pull and figure out whether or not there's existing programs around the state too, to figure out if there are other tidbits from other successful programs that we can bring in. But yeah, by default, I was gonna leave you guys as the deciding body as well. Sweet.
Moving on. Okay. We were to appoint the new members of the planning commission. John Pritchard, Mary Parker Marcus, me, and Tyson Spencer. I got a phone call from John that said he wasn't sure if he wanted to do this and he would discuss it at the meeting tonight. He's not here. So to me, that means he does not want to be on it. So I need another council person to step up to be on this planning commission. So we can vote for it today, so it can go.
So
from
let me,
everybody who volunteered at the same time.
well, let me give another one over. We've talked about this several times, right? But I don't want to be unrealistic about this. The planning commission is an advisory body, which when everything's up and running and smooth, doesn't have a ton of work to do. But at the initial onset, you guys are already under contract with West Virginia Law Land Use and Sustainable Development Clinic to develop your comprehensive plan. For this first year, it's likely going to be at least monthly meetings, and it's probably going to be a year and a half as you develop that comprehensive plan. Very important. I think it's actually one of the best processes that you can go through as a public servant because you learn about your building policy recommendations for the municipality for the next 10 years. So it's a tremendous learning experience. There's going to be professors and students here walking with you through that. But it's not like there's no work. It's an additional hour long meeting at least once a month, probably. And I'll get a hold of Christy if you guys make the appointments. I'll get a hold of Christy. You might be able to start as early as next month once we get the board set. But I don't want anybody to have delusions. It's not just a cakewalk, but it's also super informative and super rewarding because you're going to be diving into policy and then making recommendations that are the best fit for the town. over
It's
the next-
important for the town. So
It's super important. It's super important. But it's also in that position, you'll be the voice back to, because you'll be the voice back to the town council as to the things that you were discussing in the planning commission too. You'll serve for the duration of your term as that you're elected for. That's the way that was spelled out.
can I nominate Jonathan for one?
I don't qualify.
You don't qualify?
You're not living down. No. PNG.
I don't qualify either, so.
You got it. You got it. What I'm also going to recommend, and it's gonna be based on what you guys as a planning commission decide, is that you just schedule meetings like before town council meetings. So hopefully it's less interruption with the schedule.
I'm so mad at you. Jack.
I was trying to move in earlier, but it's never.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Angie.
So now we need to make a motion to appoint the new members to the planning commission. Make a motion.
I'll second that.
And then how many votes do we need? Is she allowed to vote for herself?
She should use herself, but it's the majority of those present.
So
Yeah, I could do, join in with the yays.
let's say
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Oh, business. This looks like your work that's a little bit. Yeah, that can take.
Nuisance ordinance, all right. Meat and potatoes. So at last month's meeting, we just talked about the nuisance ordinance. What we really tried to stress was the fact that this is your ordinance, right? And we know the tension that we're all feeling in starting down this code enforcement journey. We don't want to become overly repressive. We don't want to make rules that where you can't do anything the way that you normally live your life, but we also want to address some things so that the neighborhood can grow and thrive. I gave you guys a draft nuisance ordinance and I asked you to consider revisions that you would suggest that would make it a good fit. This doesn't have to happen today, but I would absolutely suggest at least making some progress and getting some provisions addressed and discussed. Mainly the things that you don't want. Like if you read the ordinance, stuff that you don't like, I can strike through it and then we can come up with a version that's closer to what you do like.
And so I believe we did make some progress on that. So there were some things highlighted that were a little bit of discrepancies, but the things that weren't highlighted, it seemed pretty unanimous that we were in agreement would be good for the ordinance. Is this it?
Like the mowing, I mean, the grass, or,
Which one was that? And in essence, these are not necessarily things that will forever be no, but right now it's like not needed on this ordinance and may perhaps need to be reworded for more clarity. Sounds good. So,
Yeah, not for Paw Paw, you know, I'm just saying,
You all have that highlighted version, is that the one that you're, and you guys, do you mind even if you all just talk through that section? You guys are happy with that copy, I can take it and then bring back a polished version to you guys next month.
yeah,
okay, let me look.
So I'll just,
but at the very least, we can at least vote on the things that more like, yeah,
That's-
these are fine. And then
well, what we can't do tonight, because we haven't made the modifications, we can't even put this up for a first
Okay.
reading. Unless we wanted to take the
That's
time to do the edits and then be ready to do that, I wouldn't suggest it just for the purpose of the meeting. And also in the background of this too, we haven't really ironed out what your code enforcement process is gonna be like on this. Now, I do have a recommendation as soon as we get through this, which actually may just have gotten easier with your new additional fire too. But let's work through this and then
Okay.
just, we're not in a crazy hurry. So
if we find that highlighted paper, we could scan it over.
I would really like if we can, even if we don't have the highlighted version, I'd like us to just push through it and then get as close as we can to a version that I can take home and edit.
This being.
Oh, I don't know if, I think it's paper.
It's not crazy long if you guys can remember the sections that you need to go.
I'll have to look, might have.
Do we have a copy on here?
No, I do not. Right, you can make a copy. Is that what you
No, no.
need?
Maybe it is a nuisance.
Yeah, let me show him, see if does this look about right?
That's the papers. Yeah, that's the.
All right, so we'll. Since you have it, read through it, I guess we can.
Narrow.
Okay, let's just do it. If you guys are cool with it, I'll try and make it as quick as we can. Okay, so. Public nuisance affecting health and safety. Decayed, harmful, and adulterated, unwholesome food, drink, sold or offered for sale to the public. You guys have a problem with that? Okay, carcasses of animals, birds, fowl, otherwise disposed of in a or otherwise not buried or otherwise disposed of in a sanitary manner within 24 hours of death. Animal carcasses. Shoot. All right. Accumulation of decayed animal or vegetable matter, trash, rubbish, rotting lumber, bedding, packing material, abandoned vehicles, machinery, scrap metal, or any material which flies, mosquitoes, disease-carrying insects, rats, or other vermin may breed, or which constitute fire hazard. This is your big one for piles of trash in somebody's yard. We know it needs to get cleaned up. Let's just work through it. Okay, that's, if you all just left that one, we would have good things to work on. Stagnant water in which mosquitoes, flies, or other insects can multiply.
No issue.
Okay. Garbage which is not secured from all animals, flies, and vermin. Okay. This one caused a little bit of conversation last time. The escape of smoke, soot, cinders, noxious acids, fumes, gases, fly or ash, industrial dust within town limits or quantities to endanger or in such quantities as to endanger the health of persons of ordinary sensibilities or to threaten or cause substantial injury to property.
See how you gotta narrow that, because the county will let you burn. You know, there is a burning ban, you know, we're allowed to do that.
I don't think it's saying
It's
you
that
can't run.
it's in such quantities as to endanger the health of persons or of ordinary sensibilities or to threaten or cause substantial injury
Okay,
to
that makes
property.
part.
So it's not
All
it's
right,
not your backyard burn pit. You guys can, you know, further neck that down if you want to, but
okay, we're good.
I
then.
think we're good with that one.
Okay.
Good to clear.
I've never seen this one pop up as something that was, you know, bad. The only time I've seen it, like I said, was I've at meth lab, and that's how
Oh,
it
yeah,
got found
no,
out,
okay.
right? So very well done. Look at it. Pollution of any public well, cistern, stream or lake, canal or body of water by sewage, creamery, or industrial waste or other substances. Stuff flowing into streams. Okay. Any use of property, substances, or things within the town emitting and causing a foul, offensive, noisome, noxious, nauseous, disagreeable odors, efflua, or stenches which are extremely repulsive to the physical senses. So something that's really stinky. Okay. Barn, stable yard, pen, or other place where animals or fowl are kept, which is not maintained in a clean condition, or any animals or fowl which, because of disease, unsanitary conditions, or odor, noise, or injury, or noise, injury, or discomfort, the health or welfare of the residents of the town. No issues? Abandoned wells, not securely covered or secured from public use. No issue. Easier to work with than we thought. Okay. Obstruction of water courses, drainage ditches, or ravines. That's what she is. Stuff that'll cause things to back up.
Here's the one. that-
Leaves.
Yeah, we'll need to, get a little bit, go ahead and make
Alright.
this one.
Grass, weeds, or any other vegetation whatsoever not edible or planted for some useful or ornamental purpose that exceeds the height of 12 inches, emits any unpleasant noxious odor, conceals any unsanitary rubbish deposit, or that affords a breeding place for insects, reptiles, or rodents. Okay. You guys don't want to tell your neighbors that they have to mow their lawn, right? Is that what I'm kind of saying?
Not if they're 70 years old on oxygen. How did
If she
she?
doesn't mow her yard,
I'm just
somebody
saying.
else does it for her.
She's not there
And
anymore.
should be cleaning up after themselves.
So
We don't make 70-year-olds on oxygen do that.
Hey, you could, if it's on there.
No, no.
So your officer is still also gonna use his discretion, his or her discretion in this too, right? So we've talked about kind of the reasonableness standard, if that's how we approach this. One of the things that I've seen used with this too is that you use it just for site obscuration, right? So if it's grass or weeds, you only do the grass or weeds within 20 feet of a roadway such that you can't make, if it gets overgrown to the point where you can't see around the corner, then that's when it becomes a nuisance, but otherwise you don't address it. That's a way to address this without saying everybody has to mow their yard exactly the way that you. It's not my ordinance. I'm not actually stressing this. This one isn't the one that's going to get me fired up at night. I'm worried about the town of Paw Paw because of grass. But you all figure out what you want in here, and I'm happy to draft it for you.
It's been on the books for 100 years and nobody has suffered from it.
We had no officer report. Now you want one.
Oh, yes, we have. We've had many
Yeah.
officers. Police did that
Oh,
job
I think
before.
compliant officer.
No,
Ordinance
police did it, is what's in the ordinance that we now have.
Could you draft up a couple different versions for us to,
Options for us.
as far as reiteration? Could you draft up a couple different wordings that might look a little
I'm
bit?
happy to bring that in.
Yeah.
So what is my general guidance though? You just don't want to have like
If they're
grass
70
standards.
years old, they don't
It-
care.
We can't do it based on age or on individual property owner, right? But like we come up with a standard that we can all live with, right? So,
with a little bit more clarity.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Um,
is the high grass not what you're stressing, but you're okay with the high grass that would obscure materials and be a place for stuff like overgrown? You don't want that, right?
No, we don't want that.
Okay. But high grass is not what you're stressing.
Well, like leaves. Is leaves in there? You gotta break your yard?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm good.
all right, well, I guess. Are we fine with the way? Okay, we're good with it. Good with it.
Okay.
So,
Now here you go. Failure to properly remove and dispose of yard waste, including grass clippings and weeds. Do you want to get rid of that? This is grass clippings and weeds. Out in the road, out in the yard.
Is
just
it
in
gonna stay
piles
in
and-
the road? Is it gonna stay in the yard?
Some people really want to see this one. I've never, like I said, lost any sleep over people's leaves in their yard. Now it is your call as to whether or not I can get rid of that clause as easy as anything if you all don't want piles of leaves in your yard or you don't want us to worry about piles of leaves.
I'm not worried about that.
I think this is one we could probably.
Get rid of. Got it.
However, if they blow their grass out to the into the road.
That's the
not
other one.
Do anything with it.
Well, I think it's later in. I think that's
Yeah, and that's where it needs reiterated, where, cause
I think
you're
you
talking
get
two different
warning,
things. It's like. When leaves fall from the trees, it's one thing, but when you're mowing grass, you're blowing, especially for the cyclists. You know, that's,
All the strings too.
so there you have it. So
Right.
those are two different.
I'll make sure that
Scenarios.
one's not where,
If you
not
have
where
dry-
not in the yard, not in the. Building materials not being used for immediate construction which are not stored in an enclosed accessory or other structure. Tarping shall not constitute a storage structure for the purposes of this section. You guys have seen this one, I'm sure. Piles of material for a project that has been going on for 10 years. Just a lumber pile in somebody's yard. This is a nuisance by some definitions. Some people don't care about it.
How sticky you wanna be with it? I mean, if somebody's working in their house or something, how long you gonna
Not
get?
being used for immediate construction.
Immediate is what?
Immediate, I
A
think.
day?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you all want me to put a time frame in there, I absolutely can. I've never seen this one used for anything other than the stuff's been there for several months and there's no apparent use of it on a project. That's the only time I've ever seen it used. But, you know, and it also was normally not a giant pile of lumber. It's just a bunch of stuff and scraps that were left over from something just as soon as it got brought up back on. But, you know, one of the things that what I really wanted to happen early was when Greg came in and talked to you guys about that reasonableness standard. If you all make sure that your code enforcement team understands that's the approach, most of these problems resolve themselves on first contact. Right? Say, hey, this isn't allowed, but what's a reasonable solution to it? Like, how much time would it take you to get it sorted out? As long as we move along that trajectory, we don't have to worry about warrant fines or anything. Let's work out a plan. And that's absolutely what I recommend. And that's when we bring on an officer to train them. If that's your direction as a town, that's what we'll set as the standard. Most of these things that you can imagine going as wrong as possible never come anywhere close to that, because you set that as the town, and as the governing body. But without the language there, you can't even address it. So you want the lumber piles, not want the lumber piles.
It's okay.
Right. Upholstered furniture, constructed for interior use, carpeting, mattresses, box springs, clothing, any such fabric items stored in place on the exterior of the structure. Structures intended for storing such items shall be constructed as to secure them from the elements of rodent infestation. All right. This is your college town ordinance. This is couches that were inside couches left out on the porch. Cool for a day or two or a week, but eventually what happens is they start rotting and they become places for mice and rats, and that's what happens. Mattresses, there's really no good explanation as to why a mattress should be kept outside, but it happens. So, do you guys have any questions on this? For any person who owns or keeps within the town any dog, cat, or other animal purposefully permitting any waste matter from that animal to collect or remain on the property of the owner or custodian or on the property of others, so as to A, cause or create unhealthy, unsanitary, or dangerous or offensive living condition on the property or to the abutting or nearby property of the others, or B, to create a public inconvenience or offense from failure to clean up after such pet. This section specifically authorizes the issuance of citations under this ordinance for failure to clean up after pets while out walking them in any area of Paw Paw. Clean up your poop.
Is there actually an ordinance for that? Because there's a couple families that literally go to the town businesses with their cars so the dogs don't poop in their own yard.
Now, I can't, what we did earlier was we categorized all of the town's ordinances and we've got them in a place that's workable and searchable. I do not have them all memorized, so I can't tell you whether or not you already have a poop ordinance on books. This would absolutely do that, and this ordinance is structured where you could get a citation for it.
I don't think there's any.
Dollar General has a problem with it. Big and Tiny's has a problem with it.
And to be
There's
honest,
somebody that brings their animals there just to take care of business.
and I've seen this clean itself up. No, I mean, no pun intended, but I've seen this work itself out with a actual concerted effort. So once the ordinance goes into place and then you do an information campaign, couple signs, let everybody know, hey, you're now going to get.
Yeah.
Yep. And I saw it resolve itself within a matter of a couple of weeks in a community that was dealing with it too. So, all right, Public nuisances offending morals and decency. All right. Disorderly bawdy houses, houses of ill fame, and buildings or structures kept and resorted for the purposes of prostitution. Probably has some other, stuff aside, from the other aspects of illegality there. It would make it a nuisance and you would have a town cause of action for it.
Oh, I guess.
Places where intoxicating liquor or fermented malt beverages are sold, possessed, stored, brewed, manufactured, and or rectified without a permit or license required by the laws of the state or the ordinances of the town. So, moonshine stills. Actually, this is or home brews would technically be here. So,
Boys don't live here now.
Yeah. It's a better setting.
any place or premises resorted for the purposes of drinking intoxicating liquor from malt beverages in violation of laws of the state of ordinance of the town. It's just when you hear these recitations of other laws, essentially just gives you the ability to write a nuisance citation for it, and instead of going through like another crime. You can't do it. Any place the landlord, his agents, employees permit, condone, or foster the violation of town ordinances or state laws relating to public health, safety, welfare, openly, continuously, repeatedly, or intentionally, and any place that the owner or landlord or his agents, employees permit, condone, or foster the creation, sale, use, or distribution of controlled substances as defined. All right. What these two do, right, is they create a nuisance for the landlord of problem properties, right? So you can go out, I'm sure you're from a small town, you've seen it. Landlord knows about it. Typically, the landlord is called a slumlord in this situation, but the property is a continuous problem property. Tax on the officers, it's really, really hard to deal with, but landlord doesn't do anything to change it, doesn't kick the tenants out. This creates a nuisance violation for the landlord that allows that activity to go on. So that's drug houses and repeated crime houses. It can be a good tool because that can create pressure on the landlord to either get those tenants sorted out when they don't want to, just listen to the law enforcement officers.
We're good.
You guys cool with it? Okay. All right. Public nuisances affecting peace and safety. All unauthorized signs, signals, markings, devices which purport to or may be mistaken as official traffic control devices. Can't make up your own road signs. All use or display of fireworks except as provided by the laws of the state and ordinances of the town. Okay. You guys cool with that? No fireworks in town.
Unless we have a fire marshal.
But-
Right.
So there's already a state law which is pretty strict on this. This says that it can't exist in town. You have a separate cause of action if you don't adhere to that. Sometimes fireworks in town can be an issue. Like I've been to one where it was a big source of complaints, but also it's a tradition sometimes. Like people say, we've always had it, but the neighbors have hated it for 20 years. So it's, been an issue too. We can leave it in, and then the default is no fireworks. And if we want to permit or process or ordinance later, you can do that. That still allows for that. Okay. All right. Building structure. So I'm sorry, folks. This is a long one, but I think this is good progress. Building structure so dilapidated or out of repair as to be dangerous, unsafe, unsanitary, otherwise unfit for human use. All right. Nuisance cause of action. So this is a good one for your whole. We're looking at this. We want to start somewhere. This is a good one for that. Okay. Wires over street, public ways, public grounds, which are strung less than 15 feet above the surface. Right. Loud and discordant noises or vibrations of any kind. That is vague, right? But it is at least a cause of action whenever you don't know what to do. Like this could be barking dog. This could be house party. This could be, people just screaming at each other shy of domestic violence.
The drone.
Well, probably not loud and discordant. But we can add in first, we can add in drone operation in town too. You guys cool with allowing this recording? Alright. Debris or foreign matter or excess water in on all obstructions of streets, alleyways, sideways, crosswalks, stormwater facilities, or excavations under the same, except as permitted by the ordinance of the town, which although made in accordance with other such ordinances are kept and maintained for unreasonable length of time, for the purpose thereof and have been accomplished. Okay, so even if you get a permit to do something, but you're blocking the street and then you go past that permit, you can't block the street, the alleyway, the sidewalk, the ditch. Right? All open and unguarded pits, wells, excavations, or unused basements freely accessible from any public street, alley, or sidewalk. Right, so this is thinking about kids falling into stuff, kids like to play and stuff. Okay. Abandoned refrigerator ice boxes from which the doors and other covers have not been removed, which are not equipped for the device for opening by pushing from. All right. Get rid of it.
It's a statement.
Huh?
State law.
I'm actually not sure if it's a state law.
Leave it. It has to do with
You know what?
children dying.
Yep.
You get inside.
Close
they
the
can't-
door and they can't get out.
Structural material condition which constitutes a fire hazard which would impair extinguishing a fire. So again, as we start this process and we start talking to your fire chief, this will be the thing that he's able to point to whenever we say, hey, ingress, egress, like we can't get into the property of this is the thing that you will be able to use. Okay. Unauthorized or unlawful use of property abutting a public street, alley, sidewalk, or any alleyway which causes large crowds of people to gather, obstructing reuse of sidewalks. Unauthorized. Which causes, yeah. So this is a large gathering which would obstruct the traffic for the free use of sidewalks or the streets. So unauthorized blocking of streets or sidewalks. All right, this one, like I said, came out of another municipality I've worked with. Any cargo, shipping, or storage container, provided that temporary use of such container may be authorized by the Paw Paw Office of Code Enforcement, the sole discretion of the code enforcement officer, for the purpose of storage during an ongoing, authorized, and permitted construction project. Such authorization must be obtained in signed writing in order to be claimed as a defense against prosecution of the section. So we understand people might even be able to use storage containers, but you can only keep them here during a project and you have to get a permit to do it. Alright. Any nuisance described in the laws of the state. You know, actually, we can keep that in here because essentially it just says if something is already, would have a local action for it. Okay. Storing, parking, or leaving dismantled vehicles. So, I was my municipality, so I can talk about Moorfield. I told you guys they pulled 100 and something cars out. This was why they adopted their ordinance and they loved it and they were very, very happy with this project. And abandoned cars all over town. This was what they focused on and it had a great impact. So the person shall park, store, leave, or permit the parking, storing, or leaving of any motor vehicle of any kind which is unlicensed, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, inoperative, rusted, junked, or partially dismantled, whether attended or not, upon any public or private property within the town for a period in excess of 10 days, except when stored by a licensed business for the purpose of vehicle repair or, right? So they got a license, they got a shop. That's one thing. Everything else, can't have put down vehicles in town, not longer than 10 days. Present such vehicle or parts of private property shall be declared a public nuisance. The section shall not apply to any vehicle properly enclosed within a building or private property. So if they've got a garage, have at it. Garbage, trash, and debris. Any person to place, throw, leave, or permit, or to remain any rubbish, paper, dirt, waste, leaves, grass, clippings, debris, or garbage upon the street, gutter, sidewalk, alley, or park, or other public ground shall be the duty of each and every owner or occupant of the town of any real property to clean such rubbish from any adjacent streets, gutters, sidewalks, ditches, or alleys. That's cool. All right, this is one that came up. Container for garbage shall be watertight and made of suitable material with a close fitting cover. Such container shall have a capacity of not more than 32 gallons and shall be provided with suitable panels. So if we go back to first section, apologize.
But now everybody's gotta have containers with their trash bags in.
So you've already got garbage which is not secured from all animals, including flies and vermin. That's already in the ordinance, right? This one provides the type of garbage container that you have to have, which I understand caused you guys a little bit of, why are we doing that? You can get rid of that completely if you want to, and then if you just make sure that the garbage is secure from animals. So if you get rid of that completely, you already have the protection of it. It's already got to be secure from animals.
Yeah, I think that's probably. a good one to
I
get rid of.
think that
Yes.
just the containment is enough. We don't need to get specific about
Kind of,
the size and,
no,
and all the extras.
As long as it's not getting.
all over the ground
Yeah,
Right.
that's-
Yeah. So,
and the drain.
Okay, so the next one is garbage containers too, but we can approach it the same way. Garbage containers shall be kept closed tightly except during the collection or deposit of garbage and refuse. The contents of the container shall be protected so that the wind cannot blow out, and scatter the same all over the streets, alleys, and premises of the town.
yeah, I mean, trash cans have lids. Yeah.
You guys cool with that? Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, refuse containers and garbage containers shall not be placed upon town streets and sidewalks or any town. Pickup prior to 4 p.m. on the evening before they assign pickup for the day. If you set that, you don't have to set it. Especially if you guys are looking for things to cut, this doesn't. Unless you already have a set preference for when the trash truck comes and what time you want it set out.
I think people know what to do.
Yeah, I think,
Some do put it on the sidewalk the night before, because they come at 3 or 4 in the morning, so.
yeah, I think this is probably it's fine to be
It's a little too.
too specific. Yeah, so.
Got it. Gone. Right. Except for the placement of containers on the public way for trash collection, the owner of any dwelling, business, or structure shall be deemed to have allowed unsanitary condition nuisance to exist in that dwelling, business, or structure whenever containers for storage garbage, trash are not screened or otherwise viewable from the street. Okay, so except for the placement of containers in the public way for trash collection, an owner of any dwelling, business, or structure shall be deemed to have allowed an unsanitary condition and nuisance in the existence of that dwelling, business, or structure whenever containers for the storage of garbage or trash are not screened or otherwise viewable from the street. What this is specifically talking about is you're driving down the street and then somebody's got a screened in porch that is full of garbage. Right? So technically screened away from animals, but viewable from the street, and it's a pile of trash, right? That's the reason for drafting this. So, you know, if you people are gonna look, one of the things that you're trying to address in this is not just health and safety. You eventually want to address aesthetics.
Right.
You want people to take pride in the town.
Right.
This says if you're gonna have trash stored somewhere, don't have it stored where you can just see it and jump off. Garbage, trash, debris, containers, whether containers or bags shall not be stored in vehicles, trailers, or similar facilities unless the entirety of the vehicle, trailer, or similar facility is screened. An elaboration of that set.
Yeah.
Can't fill a car up with trash in your driveway and just say that it's screened away from animals. I mean, these things happen, so. Businesses should have adequate space for garbage storage in a dumpster or similar receptacle. Such receptacles shall be screened or otherwise not viewable from the street. Now, this one is, you all can do this or not. This would require every dumpster to have a fence around it so that you can't see the dumpster. You all make the call as to whether or not.
Businesses?
Businesses.
Just remember ours is sitting out here in the open.
I think that this one would place at, this would probably catch a bunch of folks that otherwise have not had to do it. It would probably place a quick bird.
I don't think we need it.
It's an easy one to
Yeah,
drop.
Yeah.
Alright, guys are getting right after it. And then the rest of it's enforcement. Cool. So you made it through. Have the ability to write on the spot citations. You don't have the obligation to write on the spot on citations. We have that standard and approach that we would instruct our officer to say, hey, reasonableness is our first standard, right? So set deadlines and look for compliance. And if you don't, then you've got the ability to write those citations with the discretion. You guys actually made it through all of nuisance standards. So with that, we've also done enough to actually do a first reading of the ordinance this evening, if you wanted to. We've done.
Make a motion.
Are you?
Are you?
Yeah, I'll make
Yeah.
a motion.
I have a question on the dumpster thing. Shouldn't local businesses, if they have a dumpster, shouldn't that be enclosed, fenced off, locked gate so people can't dumpster dive? And also trash blowing out of it, because let's face it, they have a lot of tourists that come into town, they open up the dumpster lid. You can't watch your dumpster 24/7. You know how the winds come here, it
Well,
blows the
we need
trash.
to Finish this first, okay?
I get it.
Thank you.
So what I can say is that, especially if you get public comment after this, there'll be an opportunity for final revisions if you guys decide that you want to modify it. You can't make substantial modifications on this final rating, but you can make small modifications. All right, so you got a motion in a second, and then discussion and a vote. You've had the discussion.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yay, no nays.
No nays. No words.
Okay. So while you guys are on this, I recommend, and this is, your decision as a town, because you do not have a code enforcement officer, because you have not, posted the position, made the hire, and even if you do, if Greg comes on, he's like not gonna be available for long. I would very much consider talking to your police officers about select term enforcement here, for the town, right? So being an additional thing that they can help you work out. When this works really well is when you have a code enforcement department that works with your police department. But in the meantime, before you guys figure out what your long-term solution is for your code enforcement officer, I would highly encourage you guys to have that conversation. The ordinance isn't in effect right now. You don't have to iron it out, but that's something that I would absolutely encourage you guys to
We also
consider.
need to notify the public about it
100%.
and let them know, hey,
And what you can do is like what we talked about, we've done in other municipalities too, where you come through with the grace period, and say, hey, this is the new
Right.
ordinance, here's are all the standards.
Come the
We're gonna
day.
do a 60-day period where all we do is just talk about and do warnings, however you want to do it, and then say what citations could start as early as the
Right.
day.
and we'll
I
follow.
think, I think that would be a terrific idea
Yeah.
for rollout for this stuff, but, I think a good conversation with your police department would probably see it well. Okay, well, those were the hard ones for the season, so, sweet. Okay. Firearm ordinance. You guys still have a copy of that?
Anything that our.
Somewhere.
Yep, that's it. So, Second Amendment's really important. Second Amendment says broadly that, you have the right to carry in public places. West Virginia has a carve out for municipally owned property and municipally owned buildings. There's different rules for each. This ordinance only relates to municipally owned buildings. We discussed this at the last meeting. There's been some stuff that's given rise to, on the recommendation of your chief of police, to restrict firearms inside of municipally owned buildings. This is an ordinance which only cites that specific authority and code. You guys had your first reading of it last month. So this will be your second and final reading and the adoption of that ordinance, which would restrict the ability for persons to carry firearms inside of municipally owned buildings. So for public safety, primarily during public meetings.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any additional discussion?
Yays,
Yay.
Yay.
nays? None. Thank you.
So we'll require a posting as well, so we'll coordinate with your chief after this to make sure that the posting on the building is in compliance with the statute too, so. All right. Yeah, we did, yeah. Well, the posting of the position, let's nail down some of the specifics on that. You guys landed on part-time position for code enforcement officer. My recommendation is to post it for at least 3 weeks. I like to do it for a month whenever time's available. You want to make sure it's your true process.
We need to motion that or?
No, I think you guys already decided to do it
Yeah.
as far as.
Yeah.
You guys, sounds good?
Yep.
And who's gonna take point of that? Is that gonna be Ron? Ron, it's have him reach out. For your job description, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Ron.
Ron.
You have a question or are you ready for me?
Ready for you?
Ready for you.
Okay, first thing I had was dumpster. I heard was very successful last Saturday and I heard a comment that they'd like to do it again. I was just wondering, I heard one comment that maybe, not this Saturday because we were busy. Next Saturday, do you want me to schedule another dumpster?
Yeah, I think April 25th is the right day.
It'll
Yeah.
enough time in advance then as well.
10 days.
I think it costs $751.26. I think I just paid the difference. So do you need to do anything or not? No?
Yeah, I think that's in the micro purchase or shoulder with the card,
Okay.
Can
Yeah,
we-
that's not.
unless you guys want to do a motion for. Oh, no.
We're just redoing what we did on.
Right.
Okay.
Should be okay.
Update on grants, sewer grant, phase 2, which is pipes in the ground, is complete and closed out. Sewer phase 1 should be closed out in a couple months. We're still addressing a few issues there. Water project, you can see they drilled wells over here. They were successful. Very much water there. We're just moving forward with pipes in the ground and that's all I have to say about that. Oh, okay, the road up to the tank, to put a new road, that phase is done. The park, the fire hall grant, if you're not aware, we did get extra funds, bids, come back great. They should start construction, any day now.
Good.
I'm gonna guess maybe a week and should be done by the end of October, $1 million project. Park, haven't heard any more about funding at the park. That's the walking trail park where they're gonna upgrade $500,000. I haven't heard any comments about that. I just wanted to mention this. In the past, we paid a contractor to mow the cemetery, $950. He has since went out of business. We had a quote here for $800. Can we, or do we want to do it again? I'm sort of kind of recommending it. It's dangerous up there. It takes a lot of time. I know, several years ago, Ace and I used to do it. Well, I don't
That's
want
too
to
much.
mow anymore. So we do have Ace and we have Tyson. But so far, Tyson has this 2-year program being a water project, and a lot of times he needs to be on the clock with the water operator. And he needs to go to class for a week. It's coming up soon. So I'm just asking, can we move forward with another person to mow. He has a contractor's license, business license. Or do you want, I talked to Ace about it. Ace said he thinks he can handle it. But he's not crazy about it. If you want us to do it, we'll do it.
We don't want you all to be burned out.
Well, bottom line is the cemetery needs to look nice, particularly on holidays.
Yeah,
And if it means me up there weed eating mowing, we're gonna do it because we want it to look nice. That's just the way it is.
I know.
But it's, we do have the two parks and a couple other miscellaneous places to mow, but it's entirely up to you. There is, I don't know, Mary, what you say is in the cemetery, get 10,000 in cemetery budget or something?
12,500.
Okay, so,
So this is 800 what?
it's $800 per mowing. And generally speaking, we try to only mow once a month, right before a holiday, what we try to do. There has been, usually works out pretty good, but sometimes we have to do it twice. Well, I'm gonna say maybe 3 times in 2 months. So I'm guessing it's gonna be, I'm gonna shoot from the hip and say it's gonna be mowed 6 times. 6 times 8 is $4,800. Last year, I think the county gave us a couple $1,000s last year, but they said they wouldn't do it anymore. I think I paid 1 mowing or 2 mowings out of the coal severance fund one time. So it's up to you guys, and we don't have to know. I mean, push comes to shove, we can mow it the first time and we can talk about it at the next meeting. It just, it is a burden. And this estimate here was 150 less than we was paying before. If we decide to do it, I don't know if we have to advertise it again, but we've been paying 950. And I'm sort of kind of recommending having contracted out. Yeah, I'm afraid at some point somebody may get hurt, it's hilly.
Get into the threshold.
Go ahead.
I trust your judgment, so.
That's up to you guys. You just say,
Good with
you say.
going through with,
Yeah, I would rather.
This
go
quote,
with Colin.
this quote came from, what's his name? A&W Landscape, Alex Gooley. If anybody knows him.
Sounds familiar.
who is that?
Does anybody have any questions for me as far as grants? What's going on? Where's the money going? How much I make an hour?
When we go get that splash pad?
I wanna know how you get all these grants.
Well, I think, splash pads, I think it's gonna cost like $100,000. It's not even in our budget. I would just be happy to get the trails blacktop and, put up and, I think splash page great, but right now we don't have any money to do anything.
Okay, we'll get there.
I'm hoping I hear something soon, but, I don't know for sure.
We're gonna go ahead and
Do we
give
need to make a motion on the?
we need to make a motion for the cemetery mowing.
We should.
Okay, I'll make a motion for Alex and his little business. Did you get it?
Yes, a second. Discussions. Seems like a nice guy.
Yays,
Yay.
nays.
Questions on the, bills, nothing. Good. I'm sorry. I haven't
We're
done it,
proud of
so
you.
I need to come out and be honest.
We like seeing. Thanks.
If you, it's just like something you might mention that it needs working to get it. You can see that. Well, do the business license and.
Oh,
We just do them all one time.
yeah. Do you have any questions about the list?
No, I make a motion to give them all their license, their business license, Moore's Bike Path, and Cannon Contact.
Discussion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who seconded?
I do. Paramore.
There should be another one floating in there somewhere. Mine's around there somewhere.
Business license.
Is it a business license?
I turned in for a town business license.
It was too late
Okay.
to get on the agenda. Yes.
So we know. Same way with building permits?
Yep. And you got any questions about building permits?
You got a conflict of interest, like, vote on building.
You can't vote for your.
I vote for all of them to get their building permit.
the hold for one, you've got a protest that's been filed against one of them. So we pull up and see which file it is. It's the one with the poll. So it sounds like it should be examined under our.
Probably yours, Jonathan.
Yes, it's not.
What?
Madam Mayor, I think you actually got a letter as well about this one, right?
Did you get a letter?
Not sure I got a letter.
Well,
It's the Don file. There's some stuff that we've gotta just look at under our ordinances to figure out whether or not we can issue a permit on this, given that we understand it's an adjacent project too, so there's been a protest, we can check out.
okay, well,
Okay, so we're not gonna vote on that.
Not this time. I mean, if there's a special meeting between now and then and we get it resolved. fine.
yeah,
I hope so.
so that's 4 out of the 5. Can we at least approve those? With the exception of protesting, we'll have, I guess,
Anybody have a question about any of it before?
I second it. Yay.
No nays.
No, next.
so what do we gotta do for the one that's protest? Need the.
Yeah, honest with you, like the hardest part about not having a code enforcement officer here is that, like, I don't have a point to come and say, hey, like, we've received this information, who do I work on this file with? Like, once you get a code enforcement officer, they handle everything and then they ask me when they don't know what to do. But because we don't have a code enforcement officer, the town's received this information and we need to have a team, so especially if you can appoint one of your law enforcement officers, right? And what we can do is just coordinate, got ordinances that are on the books for our building permit and the existing nuisance ordinances that we have, which might be in conflict with this, but we just have to investigate. My heart, I don't work for the town, right?
Who's
So
investigate?
that's what I'm saying. I think that if you all could appoint and say,
One of the
hey,
police officers.
just say, want to designate one of your police officers to
Okay.
work on this file in the interim.
Okay.
Right, and you just say the chief, and then he can delegate down, right?
Okay.
We'll figure out whether or not there is a violation here, and whether or not that would prohibit the permit
Okay.
and do that, but until you guys tell me, yes, work with the police officers on this, I'm not gonna just sua sponte and do this for the town.
Let me see.
So it's not being approved until it's investigated or inspected,
Pending at the moment.
And, pending now.
even though it's pending and it's over halfway done, right? The projects are over halfway done.
So if there's no building permit, then it should not be over halfway done, so then.
It was like that last time too. I rest my case. Come on, we're done. It's been like that 3 times if you want to be correct about it.
So I imagine this is probably the source of the protest. Yes. So we've got information, we're gonna, well, what we always do is facts, rules, i.e. the ordinances that are on our books, where these facts line up with the rules, and figure out what our options are from there. But I haven't had a chance to talk with you guys about it since the information came our way, but we'll check it out.
And it plainly says on the building permit, it has to be filed 30 days before it goes before the council.
This is one of the harder things about not having a cohesive process, right? So if everybody doesn't understand from start to finish what our process is with the town, you're more likely to have these instances. I can't give everybody all the excuses in the world for start work while they don't have a building permit and they knew they had to apply for one, but we'll figure out what it is and how to go from there.
Thank you.
Just been interesting.
Okay,
Okay. You're up.
so we're on the comments.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the paper?
So, you know, can you get that, please? Okay, that's.
Or David.
Thank you. Okay. Now, I do need to say again that when you want to speak, and you have to sign a different paper, you have to put down your whole address. Not just Paw Paw or Winchester or Town of Bath. Okay,
Why? Like a physical or a PO box or?
a mailing address. Am I correct on that?
It's correct. It's a requirement for the town.
It is a requirement. And it's been discussed before, so it's okay. So the first one on here is Maria.
Maria.
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming. Okay, so I wanted to ask a question. But I think I filled out the wrong paper. But I'm gonna ask it anyway. For the festival, would you waive the vendor fees for this year as you did in the previous?
We did last year.
Yeah, the previous last two,
Yes.
and then
They,
would you donate to the festival again this year?
We are asking.
I got one more.
Oh, gosh.
what did we give last year?
Like Natalie, I can't remember.
I think it was close to 1,000. 1,200.
It's Ron, he will know.
Ron.
Ron,
Oh.
what did they give for the Paw Paw Festival last year?
Donation.
How much did they get? Donation?
I can't remember. And then the other question is, so since you couldn't decide on the building permits, how do you find out if you were approved?
Oh, yours is approved.
We just
You
approved
did
it.
one.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I had to, I mean,
Where was you at?
I was back there. All right.
Yeah, yours, there was only one that's pending.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, build your greenhouse.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody's knows anybody that needs anything Paw Paw related, T-shirts, magnets, postcards, they both brought the stuff over my store.
Cool.
So it's out there if somebody asks for it. So I get a lot of people asking for it, stickers and
We
postcards.
used to have
but-
some shirts.
Well, they have them over my store now, so,
Yeah, Emma Kesner made.
yeah, I'm the
Robinson.
man.
Yeah. And can I say one more thing?
Oh, my.
I'm sorry. 2 weeks ago, I had a little bit of stuff at the shed to sell, like flowers and stuff, whatever. And there was so many, well, not so many, okay, but there was a couple people wanting to know if there was a thrift store in town, if there, who sold eggs, how can we get raw milk? And I was telling them where to go. So people are riding through
Stop.
wanting
Yeah.
things. So I don't know exactly what we're gonna do with the shed down there, but I do know I need to sell some flowers.
Maybe
'Cause I mean,
that's
yeah,
some-
they're just gonna be up there growing and I'm just gonna be water.
maybe that's something our group can work on.
So that's what I just thought I'd let you know that, there's people are like hungry for a thrift shop and, stuff like that. So
Good job, Maria.
We waiting on Ron.
Yeah.
do you?
99% sure it was $1,000 last year, so I'd like to make a motion to donate $1,000 to the Paw Paw Festival.
And waive the
And-
vendor.
Suspend the need for the business license. If we had the day before the festival.
Yeah. Second it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it there.
There you go.
Say $1,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the list is Juan and Robin. They just left. Alex? Go on.
He just left.
Mike,
He's done.
I pretty much, yeah,
you got it?
I gotta fit everything in with everybody else's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I did have one thing
There it is.
to get me going. Since I opened the store back up, not 100% yet, but been talking to some of the neighbors and I've witnessed it myself. What can we do about younger, younger people that don't have a driver's license, that are riding four-wheelers without insurance or a driver's license? What can we do about that?
Or even adults.
They're acting like idiots.
I
No one
think
goes,
they
"That should live
Maybe their parents should be written for the permitting.
Okay, how do we start that process? Who do I call? You?
Yeah.
How do you
start-
catch them?
Gotta catch them, yeah.
They have to catch them.
Yeah.
We
Just
videotape
call-
it? We
call-
videotape it?
If
You
you,
would have
if
to-
there's,
Yeah,
And
and that
then-
takes 45 minutes an hour.
Yeah, but if nobody's working, then nobody's working, but still, if you call and report, and especially if you know who it is.
Right.
I would call and be like, little Johnny Smith is on the four-wheeler going down
There's even a
Winchester or whatever.
in the same situation.
Yeah, they should be follow-up on it regardless whether anybody was there or not, especially if the officer then goes to little Johnny's house and his dad's four-wheeler is there, and you say, well, I have complaints of little Johnny riding the four-wheeler, and it's yours. so
Right
you're
now, it's two
responsible.
kids that are doing it. I've tried to stop them and
if
no
you,
luck. They just keep going.
You can take photo evidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
If you
If I take a
footage-
photo.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have footage, any type of evidence of that case.
No, they live in.
Oh.
From much.
Oh.
Happy.
Yes, do that.
That's how you do it right now.
You know, we have
Rock turtle.
Priscilla Jones.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Jones, and like a lot of you, I'm wearing a lot of hats. I'm here as a public relations director for Morgan County Emergency Communications Network. If you haven't heard of that, it's the backup to the county's 911 system in the case of a significant disaster that would knock out cell phone, internet, and radio communications. There is no legacy radio backup in Morgan County. And thanks to a FEMA grant and 6 years of work with our nonprofit, we have a new 911 center as a backup in case the one in the town of Bath has to evacuate or something's not working. And it's up, it's finished. We're just getting ready to move everything in there, and we'll have our amateur radio operators really on standby for emergencies, like what happened in Asheville and Tennessee. They were really cut off, and that's the goal of this rural county, is to have a lot of volunteers that can help respond to that. We have, I think, about 90 radio operators in the county. A lot of them are members with us. So if you know of anyone who wants to join us, it's Morgan County Emergency Communications Network, mcecn.org. And we also are looking for locations for repeaters, high visibility, high altitude would be really helpful. We've got a tower and repeater on Caven Mountain inside the Caven State Park. And just a really good relationship with all the emergency responders and so it's a nice growing group of volunteers. We do monthly free trainings on emergency preparedness. So it's the Morgan County Preparedness Project. I just want to let you guys know about that. They have a composting training workshop this weekend, and they have one right now as well today. But they do each workshop the same exact material every twice a month. Secondly, my second hat is I'm the president of the Historic Landmarks Commission. The Preservation Alliance of West Virginia is coming to Morgan County for their annual conference, and Town of Bath gets to present a lot of our fun history and the buildings that we've worked on, and then some of our endangered properties. And we're going to be having a really fun interactive video presentation. The conference, he might even talk about it, is May 12th through the 14th. And our presentation about Town of Bath is May 14th. It's a Thursday at 2:15. So you're all welcome to come to that if you want. And actually we'll have a QR code on Town of Bath's website to see a kind of a recap video of what we're presenting. The third hat is I am running for Morgan County Commission under the GOP ticket. I'll be here again on Tuesday at the Senior Center at 10 a.m. to meet everybody, and a lot of the candidates will be there as well. You might have heard that the Republican Party closed their primaries to outside voters. So if you're not registered Republican, you don't get to vote for any Republican candidates, and there's a lot of competition on the ballot this year. So the election's May 12th, and we're going to be here the 21st, Tuesday at 10 a.m. at the Senior Center. That's what I got. Now you guys can wear all your hats and I'll get out of your hair.
Thank you.
Is that thing on there?
So I did have a question. Are there any municipal buildings that are outside of the municipality as far as footprint? Do we own any structures like, utility buildings, anything that fits that description for a good repeater site? I've seen this work really well with,
That one, there's somebody that lives up out the hill where the antenna is. I can ask him. David Cadwell.
we have something up on the ridge.
We have a water tank over on top of this ridge over here.
Sometimes this can work really well for these relationships because counties are looking for reliability and municipality is reliability defined, right? So it guarantees access and normally where you need power, they would need the same kind of stuff. So I would encourage those conversations because them succeeding in an emergency means you guys succeed as well.
Yeah, it's a way for all emergency responders to talk to each other if the communications go down. And also the volunteers can send messages out of state to friends and family. So it can be used for the public and also for the network. We also gave out a couple hundred GMRS two-way emergency radios last year. And you can get them for $20 on Amazon, and then maybe you upgrade your antenna, get a little FEC license to be able to use it. And that way, you guys, once you have your repeaters and stuff, you can talk to each other. Pretty affordable solution in an emergency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
David.
So it's gonna be hard to top what Leslie talked about. We had the Canal Towns meeting last week. One interesting thing that was a presenter talked about was the America 250 relay race. It's starting in California and they're going across the country to Delaware between July 4th and Thanksgiving. They'll be passing by Paw Paw. They're gonna take the C&O Canal starting at Old Town and go all the way into DC, and then they go across the bridge into Delaware. What they're looking for is folks to participate. We can ride on the canal. A lot of you runners, but for the canal, they're gonna let folks ride. So we've got some time. It's not till November, but I just want to put that out there. I think it'd be really nice to have Paw Paw out there doing this for that stretch. And I've already joked with someone at Hancock that I'll ride part of the way, he can ride the other half, and we'll cover the whole thing. But if we can get some folks engaged, I think that'd be really, really special. The MPS is working on updating their long-range interactive plan for the C&O Canal. As most plans are, it's probably overdue, but they're bringing a consultant on board. And one of the things you're going to want to do is talk to local towns about what they can do to incorporate their needs as well. And so it's a long-range plan of plans. So a lot of it is kind of visionary of where things are going to go. But I think it's important to, we've got their attention about Paw Paw. We've got some additional things going in the guides and things like that. And here I think it's a chance to bring in some of the stuff that Dusty's talking about, how to rope that in with the National Park Service going forward. So I'll keep you apprised of that. We had a Canal Towns Promotion Committee. Dusty weighed in and provided some information. What we're looking to do is so much is in the Canal Towns guidebook, and it's reaching the point where there's too much information to share. And what we really want a town like us, we want people to know about Paw Paw when they're planning their trip. You know, if you're planning your trip from the state of Washington, the guy's not going to do you any good. So we're looking to move a lot of that information onto the web while still having guidebooks for folks as well. But I think it's really important to do both for a town that most people don't exist. But I think once it's on the web, I think we'll go a lot farther with that. The next meeting is Harper's Ferry. I won't be able to make that. Another plug I shared with you all, the Historic Preservation Conference. Priscilla mentioned it as well. There's an icebreaker Tuesday night, the 12th at the Country Inn. You all are invited, the town, to come out, or the town of Bath is going to have some ambassadors there. I'll be there. Dusty's giving the opening remarks. So if it's something that you all would consider coming out to, I think it'd be great to talk about Paw Paw with the folks there. So the town of Bath is doing their thing. I'm doing a guided tour of historic Paw Paw and the Paw Paw Tunnel along with the National Park Service. We're doing that. I'm giving a presentation on the importance of storytelling as it as it relates to garnering support for historic preservation. And I'm using the town of Paw Paw as a good example of the walking tour I've done before. And then we're doing a panel discussion on disappearing places. And I'm going to be talking about the Paw Paw Tannery and how tanneries have disappeared from West Virginia. So I'm going to get Paw Paw's name out there for the folks going forward. So hopefully the stuff I sent in advance is helpful. I come to the meetings just in case there's any questions. So questions.
Thanks.
we appreciate all you're doing. Means a lot and helps a lot, even Dusty both.
We are lucky to have Dusty.
Structurally, who owns the trail? Like, what is the trail owned by?
National Park Service owns it, yeah.
So they own like the right of way. How much off of the trail do they own?
It's not very wide, well,
It varies depending upon where on the trail you're at.
yeah, so if the Paw Paw bumps up against the Green Ridge Forest.
Or specifically to where I'm at, right? So if the signage that's within the trail right of way is regulated by the National Park Service, outside of that regulated space would not necessarily be, right? So
They own all the way to the river.
And what's more complicated here in this specific area is it butts up to Maryland State property.
okay, so on the other side it's Maryland, on this side they own all the way down to the river, so there's no space that isn't the National Park Service.
Other than a few spots like the Toll Bridge, Green Ridge also has Bonds Landing, which is state property. That they go through federal and then they have a one section, but farther down,
It's
Hancock.
a recurring theme that I heard in this evening and kind of discussions on the trail is that if people don't know about it and they don't know to stop in, right? It is at least arguable, and if we can explore it as a possibility, then we can explore our authorization to do so. But the town can invest in signage off trail that would still be able, we might be able,
Well,
and that's
the signs are ready.
feasibility.
The signs are coming and the Canal Towns partnership, as I understand, is picking up the fee. I talked with the National Park Service rep last week. The poor guy is now responsible for all interpretive signage on the entire canal.
Yeah, I'm talking about, imagine that we bypass that process and go to a place.
Really no place. You'd have to put it on this side of the river. So we need it at the T junction.
Like several miles to a piece of adjoining private property and say Paw Paw 3 miles on the right.
So like.
I don't know. I don't think that's a spot.
Wow.
There's really nothing.
Yeah, I'm not advocating on national. So I'm just trying to, if we could, we can discuss things with private property owners.
Sure.
We can do that. But if it's not feasible.
No, there's really no spot. It's too long. The signs are gonna have pictographs of what's available here in Paw Paw. With it, and right now, the real issue is when people are coming from Cumberland heading towards Hancock, there was no sign.
There's one on the other side.
Yeah.
But not one on.
So there'll be a double-sided sign pointing to take the bike path. I've asked them to put 9/10 of a mile because you can't see the town and bikers don't like to go too far.
If somewhere in your journey, gentlemen, you discover the possibility for the town to explore additional stuff that's.
Mike and I've talked about going out there and just hammering signs in the ground, but the National Park Service will tear them down immediately.
So we just make another one, and put it up.
They're a little
But it's
short-staffed.
coming.
They didn't know who to go after.
I'm definitely talking about doing it legally.
Great point. You know, whenever in my presentation, I talked about increasing market searchability. Part of like working with the Canal Towns Promotion Committee is doing that. So, you know, we're going through in our organization, what's called a generative engine optimization program to kind of the next step beyond SEO when people talk about AI and how people plan trips on AI so that it indexes the information correctly. And then we are prioritizing that information. So I've been doing that for Travel Berkeley Springs, and now I'm essentially consulting Canal Towns Partnership on how to do the same. So the signage is really important, and just having the sign is going to help. But most people are planning their trips ahead of time, so we're trying to get ahead of.
And they're gonna give us markers to tell them on their phone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of a problem coming from that section. There's no cell phone service.
That's
So
part of
unless
the
you
plan.
have your map already plotted in, you won't know.
Yes, and so what we've done exactly, that's the point, is that people map it out beforehand, or they're not searching for things between towns, but when they get to towns, they always have service, and that's when they're searching for things. So we're ensuring that our narrative matches those complexities. But yeah, so great point though, and I agree with you that we should find ways.
Or things that the town can work with and have justification to do so, right? We'd have to look for where our specific authority is anytime that we wanted to work with this, one of these efforts, but it's appropriate. It's economic development, so.
Paw Paw has a seat at the Canal Towns, so it's I'm the town's rep, so and they've been very, very helpful. Wanted to do more for Paw Paw.
They're actually thinking about doing River Palooza next year in Paw Paw.
So that's all I've got.
Hey, thank you. William,
Yes, so there is a new baby swing installed in the park on the Amelia Street Park. It's for kids 5 and under.
Thank
This one actually has a seat belt, so you can put the little bike in so you don't take a header.
That's great.
And my last thing is, with summer coming, school's gonna be out. I want to see if our police department can put a PSA out, just a reminder for kids for helmets, if you're gonna ride at night, have lights on, have reflectors, just something, for public safety for the summertime, because it's gonna get hot, kids are gonna be out, they're gonna be riding in the street, stuff like that, and, just
are.
put some, yeah, well, yeah, they are.
Mhm.
But,
We're
and I,
considering,
yeah, it's just
doing a little.
put something
police
out
thing
for the
for 'em.
parents, say, you know what,
Yeah.
put a
Oh,
helmet
yeah.
on, don't smack your noggin,
And we was talking about him, doing a little fast one. We did that
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, that'd
with
be
the
great.
bikers,
Yeah,
because
if
They
put
have
them
no idea.
down back here, or it's a school or something, and
Oh, yeah.
bike safety.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
something
would,
like that.
yeah,
Lovely,
that
love
would be
these
great.
Team
Yeah, I like to
up,
hear about the swing. It's great.
we team
Oh, and it's just one more thing,
training.
what you were talking about with the bike path coming over the bridge. So I ride it like every other day. So there is gravel, but the bigger problem is there's glass and there's vehicle parts.
Oh.
And if somebody's,
Trying to get it cleaned up.
yeah, if somebody's not looking, and they hit a vehicle part or something, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
We had a
But it's
couple
not just,
accidents
it's,
this
yeah,
year.
it's not just the gravel, there's other hazardous things. in there.
Can I?
So if they could expedite that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. And I know Mike, we've been working on getting it cleaned up. I walked down to the water put in today and noticed that there's a lot of trash down there too. Maybe we can,
I pick it up all the time.
we have uh, a process for community cleanups that we fund, but through Travel Berkeley Springs. Maybe that's something we can do and we can knock out two birds with one stone and schedule a community
If we
cleanup.
could put a can down there, I would move the can if somebody would allow us to use their dumpster to dump it in. I'm down there constantly.
Yeah, so
Pick it up.
we could possibly
If I have
fund
to-
something like that. We would need a plan on to how it's maintained before we would fund it. But for a community cleanup, we can fund that. We can provide materials, trash bags, picker uppers, all that kind of stuff. Um, we also provide training related to it to make sure nobody like picks up something laced with fentanyl. And
We got a dumpster coming in 2 weeks.
so, if you guys want to help with planning that, I'll be more than happy to help. coordinate it.
And also, I'm not sure, I think this is on the Maryland side, but
It is.
well, there's a bunch of the little ready whip cans where they're sucking the
Mm.
gas out of the ready whip cans. There's like 20 of them in there.
Weapons.
I mean, I know there's not much we can do on it, but no, on the bike path, right under that bridge, they're puffing the gas and just tossing it out the window. There's like 20 of them out there, but I think that's a Maryland problem because it's in there. Haha. Way to go, Westmore.
Okay. That's all. Jen, you're not on the list?
I put myself on the list, but
Oh, my goodness, you sure did. Please, the floor is yours.
okay. I don't really have anything personal to say, just due to extenuating circumstances. But a couple people reached out to me, asking me to address a couple of issues with the council. Hold on. I guess you guys already know about this pool project that you're doing a pending investigation on. This person asked me just to say, this pool project's already halfway completed. This person that is, constructing this is a contractor and is well aware of how permitting works, that you don't start a project until you have an approved permit. So for this person to start a job and not have an approved permit is very questionable and kind of concerning, since this person is a contractor and actually has a business in town. Secondly, somebody asked me to mention about four-wheelers. I guess that's a big topic right now. There's kids obviously riding their four-wheelers, and I'm not really sure what the laws on kids riding four-wheelers are.
Licensed. They have to
Yeah,
Have a driver's license and insurance.
I just found out there's a,
Loud in the town.
I just found that out. I didn't know there was a difference between side by sides and four wheelers. I thought they were all kind of like in the same group, but it's apparently different. But there's also adults that people know this person doesn't have a driver's license, is driving a four-wheeler around town. And it's kind of like the worst kept secret ever. So, I mean, it would be nice if somebody would like stop this individual and be like, hey, do you have insurance? Hey, well, first of all, four-wheelers aren't allowed in town, right? So I don't understand, I sympathize with this person because they're not supposed to be riding in town. But this person does it almost every day. That's it.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Yeah, we can adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Everybody in favor?
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Meeting's adjourned.
Oh, don't forget the 28th.
Only
So-
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Free canoes, free bikes. Keena's gonna have horses down there. Anybody wants to come, it's all free. Serving dinner onward. That weekend.